AK on the beat.
Bottom line Liberia 24/7.
You're muted.
Welcome to the Borderland Liberia. I'm sorry, I was talking to myself. But I'm saying welcome to the Borderland Liberia. This is the program that tells us all about Liberia and what happens in Liberia. On today's edition of the program, we'll be doing a little bit of everything, a little bit of politics, and a little bit of human interest. We'll have two guests. If all goes well, we're going to have two guests, and they are all very important people. They belong to a Liberian organization, and that's why we say human interest. This is, of course, they will be talking about their own local politics within their organization, but on national politics, we'll have some little discussion. And with me tonight is Jamal Kamara from the UK, And of course, our mentor, the Lord Chilople, is in Liberia now, so he cannot be with us. We all know the difficulty in getting people from Liberia to join Facebook or to join these kind of lives, And if time permits, we'll also have a report from our reporter on the ground concerning the CPP activities today. We understand that they named their campaign team today, their campaign activities today. So we'll be doing all of that. And Jima, how you doing? How is your area?
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming back again on the bottom line. We'll be doing great. UK is all right. Just the weather keep coming off and on in terms of rain. Manchester is noted for rain, like it's off and on. The weather is good. That's far as concerned. When this is a football season, and one good thing I can tell you right now, we're all excited for this weekend because we'll be having the women final. Like England is going against Spain at the end of the week this Sunday. So we are all excited to see what the Lioness will be bringing back to after being the European champions, women champions, are going to be the World Cup champions in football. So that's the excitement coming this weekend in the UK. So that's why I got to share with you tonight. We're doing okay so far, so good. Linfo, do you hear me? Linfo, are you going silent, Linfo? You're muted. Anyway, yeah, as we said, we have two guests coming up tonight. We have one of the guests already in the studio. He'll be joining us very soon. But in the meantime, we'll be giving you some highlights from Liberia. We understand that CPP has named the team, the people in the driver's seat. I'll be running the show in Liberia. That is the campaign team. We'll be bringing those list, the highlights, what happened there. Waiting to get back to Monrovia, Liberia, to tell us who is actually been named. We had a very massive turnout today at the CPP headquarters in Monrovia, where they have a very, very impressive turnout. And the names are team of the communication teams, the various counties coordinators, and the chairman of the campaign for the CPP. That's the Collaborative Political Party in Liberia, headed by political leader Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummins, and President, Vice President candidate is Councillor Charlene Bromsky. And we'll be bringing those highlights later on tonight. But let you know, we have guests. Our guests tonight are based in Europe. These are the diaspora leaders. Speaking about Europe, they are based in Norway. Two leaders, former leader and a present leader, will be our guests. Now, we'll be having discussions. We don't question them. This is a European thing. We want to have a discussion or conversation with them, and to tell us what they have for us in Europe, what they plan for Norway and in Liberia in general. So tonight we're bringing them the present leader. He was elected. I will be bringing his name later to you. He was elected 2 weeks ago, barely 2 weeks ago, as a leader of Norway. They call it the Union of Liberian Associations in Norway, ULAN. And also the former chairman also will be coming in. I think he's Emmanuel Soa. He also will be joining us tonight. But tonight we have in studio the Honorable Excellency, the pastor himself will be with us tonight. So we'll be having a conversation with the pastor. So we're going to tell you his name when you show up on our guest. So anyway, I'll join my colleague, Linfo. Linfo, are you with me?
Yes. Thank you, Chima. I'm actually trying to get the second guest on. That's why I'm silent. I'm trying to communicate with him. But we let us say welcome to all of you in the viewing land. All we ask you to do is please help us to share the show to your various contacts. If you're on Facebook, you can share it on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, you can share it on YouTube. And let's welcome a couple of people that we see here. Chadelo Brancholo, thank you very much. We know you're always there, and help us to share the show. And for those of you whose name I cannot see, please help us to share the show now. And
by the way of information info, I know you're struggling to get around. While you're working to bring our second guest on, I will just let you know the first guest is our guest, the president-elect. I don't know whether you have had the inauguration, but I think I should call him the president-elect. Is that correct? Linfo, are you with me? Is it the president-elect that's coming in? Have you had the inauguration anyway? Linfo,
no, the inauguration had not been held yet. The inauguration,
we are kind of lucky we're trying to get the two guests in studio right now. But in the meantime,
we're trying to get you on.
By the way of information, we will there we can follow us on YouTube, Facebook on the bottom line. Also, we got online radio. We also have that 247. You can follow us on there. But now, if you're on online radio, we have a news every 8 o'clock. There's ELBC news coming every 8 o'clock on online radio. So we have a news from Liberia. So that's the reason you can't catch on at 8 o'clock except 8:30. That's the time you can follow us on the online radio. But in any case, you can join us on the Facebook. That's the bottom Liberia on the Facebook, also on the YouTube. You're just trying to. I think my colleague is working on how to bring in the guest. It does we're having two guests tonight. Quite an interesting story. So we also ask you, if you have questions, please try to drop in your questions because we may not be able to take your call for our guests on the studio tonight. That will be the president-elect of the ULAN, as the Library Association in Norway.
Yeah. Yes.
And also
you're doing well. I know it's not easy for you because you do know these two gentlemen. They'll be telling you about themselves later on. But we try to get on the second person. He's actually like trying to come in, but we understand.
Let's work on since we're waiting for the guest. So when the list to come in from but no, just another how to call it recap. We'll be in the middle of the program. We may give you the list of those the CPP named as the campaign team for their 2023 election. That will take them out to October 10. We'll be coming up. We have a break section and name those if we got the list on time. We'll be having a highlight for Liberia. But in any case, we may be bringing the first guest in, and he is already in studio. And is there a chance we can bring the first guest so we can able to let the ball roll? Because we've gone like 12 minutes into our time. Linfo?
Okay, so let's see if we can bring in our guest. Ire, you need to open your camera and your microphone. I see. Okay, I don't know why he's not coming up.
I think something covering his microphone. So if you hear us, Pastor, you need to open your camera. You're not live on your
camera is not allowing you to come on the screen.
So you need to yeah.
Hello?
Are you with us? If you're hearing us, please make sure we can see you in studio. Okay. I think
he's
come back in. Again. All right. Then by the way, Linford, tell me a little bit about your weekend in Norway.
Okay, my weekend was, as you know, last week, one weekend ago, we had flood here in Norway, and it was, I thought it was only in my area, but when I look at other pictures that were streaming in, were very disturbing. Imagine I saw from a camping site, normally because here in Norway, the people will always build the camping sites right around the water because between every mountain is a flat land, a valley, and there's where all our activities go on, farming or whatever goes on there. And so people normally build their camping sites around there, and there where the main roads are because the roads go the one around the mountains. So I saw this picture where the camping, these ones that they attach on the car to carry, right? A very long one. It's like a house, a little house. And these two of them are floating on the water, man. I mean, like if you stay from far and see, you think there's a little boat coming. And these things came, and right in one town, the bridge was there. The level of the water was so high that the camping van could not go under when I say camping van, please forgive me, it's the Norwegian name, but the camping, wagon, the camping wagon. Yeah. So the camping wagon came up there, and everybody was looking, it came went under the bridge. The bridge crushed it. And I was like, what? I got a video where I can download it now. And I was like, what? I mean, I couldn't just believe it. And these are money-making things that people use to make money here. So to see that the water just destroy these kind of things. And guess what? From last week until yesterday, I mean, it was raining even a little bit yesterday in the morning. Then later on, it became summer again. And today it was complete summer. Can you imagine? Today was complete summer, 24 degrees at my end. And everybody was going in t-shirt from flood to summer. So this is a country, the weather is very unpredictable. And sometimes we tease our men, and our men will be smiling one second, you and the man will be talking, he's smiling one second, the next minute, man, the man go, Larry, I didn't see you before. You say, let's say, I can't talk to you. So, Irene, let's say welcome to you. And if you hear us, want to say welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be on your show tonight.
Okay, and let me just talk a little bit about Pastor Eric. On and all, you hear me calling Eric because we are colleagues. We grew up together a long
Of
time ago.
course.
20 years ago on the Papas. We got our long
Yeah.
history, of childhood friends. And Pastor Eric and I, we all live in Norway, and we've been working together. Even this organization for which he's president today, we're all founding members. As you know, we were all scattered all around the place, and then we had to all gather at one point. And after many years of childhood friend, I mean, I didn't really know Pastor Ira as childhood friend, but we grew up in the same era, and I know that we did things, we played football together. Right on the Papas. If you know the Pastor teenage era, the 14-year era, the whole capital Papas, and we also play football in Chidon in school and things. But when you're playing, you're gonna know each other quick. Until when we met them, we started talking, then we got to know each other. So we've been friends, and he's been instrumental in this organization as well. So, Pastor Ira is the president, the new president, the president-elect. There was some little official turnover, but I think we are expecting, he will talk about that, we are expecting a grand inauguration of the new administration. So I will refer to him at some point as president-elect, so to speak. So that's just a little bit about Pastor Ira. He will talk, Pastor Warner, Ira Warner, okay? So if I say Eric, is the shortest way for me to get to him. The Warner will be the official address. So I don't know when last I called Warner Eric. I think what was it even? Right?
I can't remember.
So this is Pastor Eric Beto Warner. He's the president of the Union of Liberian Associations in Norway for now. He just took over as the new administration, and he and his code of officers will be carrying on the work of the union. We're trying to still get Emmanuel on. Emmanuel, who is the former president, he's trying to get on. He comes on, and then he's finding it very difficult to come on. But let's say welcome. And will you care to tell us a little bit who we're talking to here?
Okay. Once again, thank you very much for inviting me over on this your show. I've followed you on a couple of your programs, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. Well, I'm Eric Beto Warner. Was born in Monrovia, and I grew up right in the central Monrovia. I went to a couple of known schools. From primary school, I went to G.L. Gibson on Gurley Street, and then Monrovia Demonstration Elementary School, St. Patrick's, AME Zion Academy. And then after that, then the war hit before coming to Sierra Leone, where I went to Bible school and became a pastor there, Bible school and missionary training school. And then a couple of years after that, I moved to Norway as the FM quota refugee group that came from all over West Africa, Liberians that came from all over West Africa. I was fortunate to be in the group from Sierra Leone coming to Norway. So over the years, I've worked in different fields. I've worked mainly as a pastor, pastoring church as a senior pastor, sometimes as an assistant, but I've been working with people, and we happen to have started organizations that are thriving in Africa, especially in Sierra Leone. We started churches in Sierra Leone, there in Kenya. We have a church that we affiliate with in Liberia, and we have a group in Nigeria as well. So because of the work I do, the mission work we do, I was elected to the bishopric to be consecrated as a bishop, but I turned down that offer because I felt like it was not the right timing, because I was still building my work here in Norway. So here in Norway, we have one church, and apart from that, I have a regular job. So I'm not pastoring full time. I'm not being paid as a pastor here full time, but I'm pastoring, and I have a full-time job alongside with that. And I oversee our projects in Africa, churches, clinics. We have one clinic in Sierra Leone, and we have people that work on us, and we raise funds and support these initiatives there. So for a good part of my life, I've been involved in working with people, dealing with people, and I've been in leadership for a good part of my life, either as a senior leader or an assistant. So it was an honor and a blessing for me to have been elected as the president of the Union of Liberian Association in Norway. I'm looking forward to be able to bring the best I have to this organization to uplift Liberians in this part of the world. So this show is just an opportunity for me to share my heart with our viewers and to connect with Liberians all over the world. Thank you for the opportunity once again.
Okay, Chima, anything?
Yeah, I would like to welcome our president-elect of the ULAN. I think we should be discussing something about the role of the religious community in the diaspora community, because listening to Eric right now, he says a lot about the role he plays. He's very active being a pastor. I think quite interesting. May invite you once again to talk to about the role of the church in the community and that of in Liberia. But anyway, just straight to the point. Welcome once again to the Bottom Line Liberia. And you may prefer to call you Eric or Pastor Eric.
It's okay to call me Eric. I love it like that. I'm used to people calling me by my first name.
Right. Thank you. I will first go about to talk. We'll talk about we'll talk about the role of the church containing that of the community. That will be part of my question later on. But my first question will be: you involved in the church activity. What really? I think you got a full plate from your explanation. Your plate is really full. And what is the motivation to come again and take your role as a leader? And you've been a pastor. You are invited to go to the bishop part of the bishop. What do you call it? The bishop cycle, in which you turned down, you declined, and you came to serve as a community leader. I don't see the link. Tell me something about it. What is that? But don't you know going to be a lot of work for you to do to relate with church service and that of the community thing? Show me the link and how you're going to work this out.
Okay, thank you very much. I get this question, and I had a lot of this question repeated itself a couple of times during the campaign. People were concerned. Some people wanted to use that to say, "Oh yeah, well, you won't be able. You don't have the time." But the way I do ministry is strictly from the book. Is strictly after the example of Jesus Christ. Right. Every time I find myself in leadership, the first thing I try to do is to work my way out of the job. Don't let the job depend on your presence. And that's something in the Bible we call discipleship. You must train people. You must equip people. So when you are not there, it functions. The reason why we still have a church in Kenya, in Sierra Leone, and one in Liberia, and I don't need to be actively involved, is because we have trained, qualified people who understands the vision, who are running it without my constant intervention. My role as a leader is to motivate, to encourage, to inspire them to take the action. So I have a lot of time, despite my responsibility in the church. And the church we run here in Norway, we got over 6-7 different preachers who can actually run the church equally good as we, the leaders, because I co-pastor with another a pastor, a Norwegian pastor. We are co-pastors together. For example, he's traveling next week. I'm traveling the week after that to the States. We'll be away. I will be away for a shorter time, 5 days. He will be away for 3 weeks. We have people here who will run the church like our absence won't mean anything. So this is the kind of approach I approach ministry, because that's what Jesus is all about. If Christianity depended on the presence of Jesus, it would have died. So that's why he had disciples, and his disciples had disciples. That's why Christianity is spreading. And so that's my method of approaching ministry, and that's why I have time on hand. But what motivated me to come into this space at the point in time, it was like I always had an eye for this, to serve my community, and I have served this particular Liberian community not in any leadership capacity before. A leadership gap presented itself, and I felt like this is the right time. I look at my schedule, what I want to do within the next 4 years, and I thought this 2 years is the best time for me to give a try, because I also felt like I have a lot that I could offer, since we are going into a transition that has not happened for 11 years, and everybody's excited, and we have to start building from scratch. So I feel like one of my strengths, and you will call it if you in ministry, you people refer to me as an apostle. An apostle's, one of his strength of the apostle is to build, to establish things. And I felt like ULAN is in a situation where we need to go to the foundation and start strengthening the foundations that are already there and build upward. And since we are in this transition stage, and I believe I have the capacity, and one of my strengths is to establish things and build things, I will be the right leader to step in at this interval. I'm not talking about 4 years from now, I'm talking about this particular point in time. And that's why I took the opportunity and ran this point in time.
All right, Linford, I got a second question for the president-elect. If you mind, thank you very much. We still need to understand where you're coming from, because as a pastor, we have Liberian organizations, diaspora organizations. They were involved in a lot of programs, activities that were merry-making, fun, and a lot of stuff got involved. And looking at your role as a pastor, as an example in the community, we're looking up to where you have the people getting into fun. Everything happens when you go to this gathering. We expect the leader to be present, and we don't expect the pastor to be at that meeting. How do you compromise that?
I have my values, which I don't compromise. And it doesn't matter where I go. I maintain my value, and I respect what other people do. As a leader of a broad-based organization, which is not a church or a Christian organization, I do expect the people in this organization to carry out their social life. And I will participate in the aspects of the social activities that do not conflict with my values. Okay? So let's look at Jesus Christ. People may say this pastor is a little bit too liberal, but here, okay, I'm taking the example of Jesus Christ. Jesus, he didn't people. I don't want to use the word hang out, but he interacted with people who were not religious, who didn't have an understanding of Christianity or what it means to serve God, the concept of God, the concept of worship. And he was able to influence those people to believe him. Sometimes not by saying much, just by living the life, his presence. So, like I said, I will not compromise my values no matter what, but I will not be there to be a police. Because most of the people in the Liberian community know me, that I'm a pastor already. I've interacted with them on all levels before. For example, I don't drink alcohol, but I attend programs where people drink alcohol. And I can't stop them. It is my value. I protect myself, I keep myself, and I participate in activities that don't conflict with my values. And I respect what other people do. I don't have a problem with people choosing to do what they want to do. If you come to my church, I will preach. I will preach like a pastor. Okay, so once you're in my terrain, that's it. So I don't know if I've answered that question. I'm just trying to be more politically correct here in my statement. But the reality there is that I maintain my value, and what people do with their life in the social setup has no bearing or impact on my values.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me just ask this question.
Yeah.
You are no stranger to ULAN, and I don't know whether it's been your dream all the time to ever want to be chairman of ULAN. But before I go there, before I ask you the question, let me see if we can get on our second guest. Okay. Your Honor.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay. Will you just try to button your shirt to the next to that. So yeah. Okay, sorry for that. But it's good that you are on. So now it's balanced. We're going to be taking it from the past. That's why if you read our caption, it says uh, the past and the future of ULAN. Now, the man you see the person you see on the left-hand side of the screen below Shimada is Mr. Emmanuel Sua. He has been the chairman of ULAN for 11 years, almost 12 years. And then Pastor Ire Warner on the right-hand side is the current chairperson. So that's why we are looking at the past of ULAN and then the present or the future of ULAN. So we were just talking to Ire. So let me just give you the one question, Ire. Has it been your dream all along to become chairman of ULAN?
Well, it has never been my dream. I have always been a supportive person in the background. When it comes to the Liberian community, I always like to be in the background to give my support, and that has been my approach and the way I have participated in the activities. Firstly, secondly, I was very frank with my schedule. At the time, my schedule was so conflicting. I could travel a lot. I was traveling a lot during this time, so I didn't want to take up any responsibility. I didn't engage myself more than I could take. So it was never my plan. Like I said, when this gap opened up, this leadership gap opened up, and I looked at the sensitivity of this transition, what it means for the future of ULAN and what it means to maintain the foundation that has been laid, I felt like this is down my alley. I think I'm gifted. I think in this area, I have some qualification, I have some experience, and this is where my strength lies, building stuff, establishing stuff. And that's why I thought that let me, for the first time, in fact, I hesitated to run. I even mentioned that I want to run, but I need to consult with a few people who I think will do better than me, and I want to give my support to those people. When I consulted those individuals, none of them were interested in the race. So I thought, okay, then this is my chance. Most of them said to me, "You run, we will support you," and that was how I finally decided to jump into the race.
Okay, welcome, Mr. Emmanuel Swa.
Thank you.
Okay. Jamar, do you have any question or any welcome statement for Mr. Swa?
I just want to thank you for honoring our invitation to join the Borderline Liberia. Mr. Swa, thank you for coming after serving ULAN for how many years? Probably we'll talk to you later about that. But Linfo, if you give me a chance, I will throw my first question at the outgoing president.
Oh, sure.
Mr. Swa, welcome.
Thank you.
Could you please tell us a little bit yourself, and from there you tell us how long you served ULAN as the president?
Well, thank you so much. First of all, my apology for coming a little too late. It's all because of these technical, issues, and my device wasn't really correspondent. So I'm quite sorry for that. I'm grateful, first of all, to be here, and I thank you for the invitation. My full name is Emmanuel Swa, and I live in Norway. I've been here now for 20 years. And I quite remember when we got to Norway, it's like the Liberian communities were all over, people were, around. And I think there was this call to begin working together. But we had these groups everywhere. And I happened to have been I got my resettlement, and I wasn't enough. And there, I was fortunate enough to have been the first elected president for the group there. And then later on, we heard that Liberians were gathering to organize a new group, which of course later became ULAN. So I, being a man who is interested in community works and other things, decided to come in to give some background support, and I decided to work with a group, not as a leader, not as anyone, but just trying to support the group. So I'm interested in community development. I believe that good efforts put together with good intentions can always yield good results to people. And maybe if you would like, I will tell you a little bit of my background. My inspiration began when I took refuge in Guinea. And if history will recall, and I think some of the people who are listening to me maybe confirm this, but I was one of the youngest men who got into this uniting Liberians to form this refugee school system that went wide around in the entire Guinean region. And I was one of the youngest teachers. I served the refugee school system as a teacher. I worked as a teacher in 7 years. I became a leader. I got promotion as vice principal for instruction, and later on vice principal for administration, and then